Believe it or not, after a course in SAT or ACT prep, we have some families saying, "What more can I do with you?" And for academic success, we often bring up speedy reading, which we're terming more often better reading, because the speed part, which we'll gain, is less important than the understanding part, which is an absolute must. If we're going to increase our speed, it shouldn't come at the expense of comprehension on important things. Comprehension on not so important, you might want to jettison in favor of going twice, maybe even 3 times as fast. We have some of our students who are reading 3 times faster than they were 4 days earlier. The course that we do is typically 8 to 10 hours, and it probably will include study skills. It depends on what your school or your group, if you want to form a group, wants to do. So we end up with 4 days times 2 to 2.5 hours, where we get into a few books of our choosing, and we let you bring in articles or books of your choosing. Ivy Bound just recently segmented speedy reading. We now have a course just for youngsters, another course just for teenagers, another course for college students and grad students. We lump you all together. And finally, a business-oriented reading, which can be for any age. I had 3 people over 60 in my last 4-student group for better business reading. The reading skills are good for life. They should help in academia as well as your outside, whether your outside is just getting more pleasure from my fiction or getting more practical knowledge for my nonfiction. This ought to help a lot. Finally, a note on why we don't use a laboratory or specific devices for our speedy reading improvements. Some places want you to use some artificial things that let you see only 1 line at a time, or maybe 3 lines at a time, and the lab is going to generate better habits. We've chosen not to do that because you're not going to have access to the lab for life. And if you wanted to rejuvenate, the rejuvenation is simply in the same materials that we give you from the very beginning. They're available anytime. If you happen to lose them, you call us up and say, "I want to read that lesson again."